I'm Rebecca Weidenbenner with the Trade Desk. I'm so happy to be here with Sherina Smith from American Family Insurance. Before we get started here and dig into sports and culture and emotions and great creative storytelling, would love to hear a little bit more about yourself and how you started your role at American Family Insurance.
Thanks for being here. Sherina Smith, Chief Marketing Officer at American Family Insurance, as Rebecca said. I did not start my career in insurance industry. I started in consumer packaged goods, so I'm a proud Kraft alum. I did my share of Kraft singles and macaroni and cheese and all the things. And then I spent some time in the pharmaceutical industry doing direct to patient marketing, some time in retail, which 3 years in retail is really 30 years in life. But, anyways, some time in retail. And then I came to American Family. I've been here for about 7 years. And my team is all of the customer insights, research, and analytics, all the marketing functions, and then also digital experience.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, when you and I spoke in preparation for this panel, we talked about how American Family Insurance, should I say AmFam?
I
Oh,
am, fam.
okay.
Yes.
Is a challenger brand. And I think the perception of challenger brands is often a limitation of budget. How do you define this challenger brand mindset?
Yeah. So, I mean, it certainly does come with constraints around budget, but I think there isn't a CMO who doesn't feel like they don't have budget constraints, no matter how big their budget is. So on our team, when we talk about being a challenger brand, we go beyond the obvious of budget, and we really talk about the importance of being intentional. We work in a category that is very competitive. We all know that there's a lot of money spent in the insurance, direct to consumer insurance advertising space. We also know from research that you are 60% more likely to choose the insurance brand that is, say, your top 1 to 3 that you could name off the top of your head. There's so much advertising in the space and so much awareness that people don't typically do a lot of research beyond those top 3 to 4. So, just from a business perspective, it's important for us to be top of mind, and we compete against a lot of big spenders, and so we're very intentional. As we think about being a challenger brand, we think about it from the partners that we choose to support our business. So we choose partners who know how to be intentional and get more with less. And then we also have chosen content programming, storytelling, and a marketing plan that's intentional with impact around how we tell that story, where we tell it, and when the moments we think are the most impactful for a customer to change to be changed to choose us.
So, you're not just throwing all of your budget at the Super Bowl. No.
Man, I wish I could, but no, we're not. We are not throwing all of our budget at the Super Bowl. We are spending a fair amount of our budget, though, through the lens of sponsorships and storytelling and leveraging sports as a tool to do it.
And I know we're going to share, I think we've got some of the spots to share today.
Yep.
Something that you had also shared was this idea of big in your backyard mentality, which I thought was just such a great way to think about connecting with people more directly.
Yeah. So, just a little bit about our business model. We sell digitally online. We also sell through Costco, and we also sell through exclusive agents. We know that when you think about protecting your home, your family, things that matter to you most, that personal connection really matters. So, people are very connected to their agents. So, as we've thought about what tools do we give our agents to help sell the brand, big in our backyard really became a term that we used a lot, because it was like, how do we give agents a tool that they can connect to, that bring passion to their community? And usually it's sports. So we have a very big presence in Green Bay through Lambeau Field and with the Packers. We have a big presence in Milwaukee with the Brewers and the American Family Fields. We do it in Atlanta as we take over a whole corridor within the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We have a big presence in Indianapolis with the Colts and how we activate pre-game. And so, while it's not at the national level, we've taken basically the popularity of something that's national and brought it down locally, in the same way that our agents are taking our brand, which is a national brand, and making it resonant for their local customer base.
Wonderful. And you know, you talked about sports tying back to that emotional connection. Sports is a connector. The first time we spoke, we were able to connect on the Ohio State University, which my husband went to, but close enough. But insurance in general is often a category that plays into humor as an emotion. You've really chosen to go in a different direction, really leaning into inspiration, dreams, grit. How are you tapping into this emotional white space for the brand?
Yeah, so our mission as a brand is to inspire, protect, and restore dreams. When you think about sports, it's about grit, It's about dreams. It's about the kid who wishes he can grow up and be Jordan Love. It's a kid who wants to grow up and be Michael Jordan, team sports. Um, and so there is a lot of inspiration that goes with that. There's a lot of grit and persistence and perseverance that goes with that as a brand. That those are the values that we think everyone has to embody in order to reach and achieve their dreams. Humor is certainly very prevalent in this category, except that when we think of ourselves as a challenger brand and how do we make sure we break through, being the sixth, seventh, or eighth funny insurance brand didn't feel like the way a challenger brand would attack the category. And so we lean a lot more, not that humor isn't an emotion, but we lean a lot more into the emotion that drives you to reach your dreams. And really, how can we help people to be more fearless so they can get to their dreams?
When you were partnering with Jordan Love before he was as big as he is today.
We were. It's funny. Okay, so Jordan Love story. I'm home watching the Packers. It was maybe his second or third game starting, and really when we first started to see what he's capable of as a quarterback, we had long been watching Aaron Rodgers, who was at the time repping State Farm, stand in front of our sponsorship as American Family, feeling like, but then he left, and then Jordan Love came, and then all of a sudden on that third game, I was like, I think we just found our new ambassador. He's amazing, and he has been amazing. And the great thing about him, as we think about inspiring, protecting, restoring dreams, is we also look for people that represent the brand that embody that. And our experience with Jordan has been that he embodies who we are as a brand. He's about to start a family, so he's living into the American family part of our brand. And he's living all the way into that idea of reaching your dreams fearlessly.
All right, Sherina, what's your Dream Fearlessly Bold tagline?
Ooh, I should have anticipated that question.
I have one for you.
Oh, what's yours?
This is for you.
Okay.
Dreams don't wait, and neither does this CMO.
Okay. I like that.
You can use it.
I like that. I think if I was going to pick my own, well, I'm a small package, so of course I'm going to lean into big. As a CMO, I think we are really focused on driving growth. Revenue is one of the key drivers and one of the things that we look at as a KPI for our performance. So I'm going with big revenue arena. Okay.
I like it. Okay, so let's go back to this brand story and the context of sports that we've been talking about it in. The digital landscape is evolving. I can't be a moderator unless I say the word AI. So as digital behaviors are changing and people are consuming content differently with AI, why is the focus on the brand story more important than ever for you?
Yeah. So, well, a couple of things. I'll back up and talk a little bit about the Jordan Love work. The Jordan Love work, this was year 2. We started it last year with this whole idea of what if kids could define their own bowl, and what if you went into their imagination? What would it look like? And where would it take place? So the first round of that spot from last year takes place in the living room, and we turned the living room into a football field. Fast forward to this year, Jordan Love moves into a house, he gets married, and it's the idea of Jordan moves into your neighborhood, and now you can be truly a part of the team with him. That campaign started in social with the kids introducing themselves, and that was really like the lead up to bringing it to life when the season started in September. When we think about brand storytelling and content development, I talked about being a challenger brand. We've spent a lot of time talking about the changing habits of consumers. Think about, well, I'll just say me. I used to be a big like, oh, I'm gonna just Google it. And then, you have to go down the list and then click through and then find all the things. And all of a sudden, like Gemini's changed my life. Like I don't even go down the list anymore. I just ask Gemini a question and she goes and she in my head. She goes out,
Respect.
she gets all the information and she creates like a very nice narrative for me. And so what we started talking about as a brand is as a brand that doesn't outspend in our category for sure, and is not as well known in some parts of the country, how do we quote unquote cheat the system? And one of the ways we've talked about doing that is developing lots and lots of content, because where does Gemini go to get her information? She goes to YouTube. And so we've been really intentional about using all of the resources we have to be complete and holistic in how we tell our brand story, the benefits that we offer, the way we treat customers, our philosophy as a brand, and creating content that lives across multiple video locations, but really leaning into places like YouTube and in social, so that as people are beginning to change their search habits, the way our brand shows up is the way we intended to, and we're able to control that narrative.
Yeah. And I know you've been doing a lot of micro series or mini series of content to help bring that story to life. I think we're going to pull up the Inspire trailer that leads up to some of that series, and it's a really beautiful moment. Before we do, can you share a little bit more about how you think about storytelling in a multi-screen world? You know, your search behaviors are changing too, but our content consumption behaviors are changing with all these different screens.
Yeah, so the Inspire series, we're gonna look at the trailer in a moment, but that was really where we started to think about the way people are consuming content and the attention span that people have for how much storytelling and content they can consume and what it needs to look like in order for you to really engage. And so when we put this content story together, it doesn't look like a traditional commercial. It's really filmed and built to look like a dramatic series, a micro series that tells the story of a young woman who wants to grow up to be like her dad. Her dad happens to be a football coach. And so we lean into this unlikely story of a little girl who spends her time, her Saturdays with her dad, going to the stadium, going to practice, and really shadowing him. And she grows up. Oh, I won't give it away, but go watch the series. You might guess what she grows up to be. But we tell her story, we tell her dad's story, we'll tell her little brother's story, and we go deep in the ways that generations can pass legacy on to each other and the importance of having the protection for those dreams across the generations. That story, we knew that holiday time is a time when we're very close to family storytelling. So we didn't lean into a holiday story, but we did lean into a family story, just in the spirit of being broad and the number of people who would connect to it. But we placed it during family story time, family holiday time on Peacock, on Fire TV. We did some connected TV takeovers with Amazon. We also connected social, and everything leads you back to YouTube. And then the YouTube feed was really built so that you could go through the series no matter where you started. It would bring you back to the beginning of the series so you watch them. And the way it's built is in trailers. So it feels like you're literally about to go and watch this new movie that's about being inspired to dream fearlessly. We then have used the data collection from those custom audiences to be able to do retargeting from the customers who engaged with us. And it's a series that we're going to continue to build out. So it starts with the family that we're highlighting right now. There's multiple families that we serve, multiple dreams, multiple generational legacies that we help to protect. So over the course of this year and next year, as we head into our 100th anniversary year, we're going to continue to lean into these micro stories or micro series where we tell the story of a family and how it comes to life through dream protection.
Well, and you were talking a little bit about AI earlier as it relates to search, but you're also using AI to help have this content show up in the right environments. Yeah.
Yes, I love it when you remind me the point I forgot. So one of the things that we did it's new at Peacock was they allowed us to basically place the story within Peacock, and it is served at they use AI to serve our story or our spots whenever it's most emotionally resonant in their content. So if you imagine you're watching the movie and there's a moment, there's a really sweet, special father-daughter moment, that would be the moment where the next ad in the pod would be one of our spots. And so we're excited about what that means in terms of just grabbing people in the mindset and really what it could mean in terms of ad recall and brand memorability and what you associate the brand with, again, especially for people who may or may not be as familiar with our brand as we continue to expand across the US.
I mean, it's better than it showing up during a true crime, right? Like you want to be in that right mentality. And tied to the narrative and the storytelling that everything that you do is rooted in, so much of insurance as a category is rooted in trust. How does having a presence in sports content specifically, regardless of the broader distribution of video, how does your tie into sports help you earn that trust of consumers?
Yeah, so I think sports is one of we heard it in maybe 2 panels ago. Sports is one of the last places it's live. It's not AI. It's true. It's human and humanity moments. You see the emotion as it happens. You watch it as it happens, and it's also a place in a divided world that we pretty much all can align on which team we cheer for. So it doesn't really matter on other things you may disagree about, but if you're a Buckeye, you're a Buckeye fan.
Yep.
And so we believe that's part of our brand ideals is that we exist to unify, not to divide. And so that idea of grit and dream protection, dream pursuit is a place where we feel like there's unity. The other thing that as a brand, we are very connected to the foundations for every sport that we partner with. So at each one of our teams, so we are embedded into communities through it. So within Atlanta, we're very embedded with the Falcons and the Atlanta United team on how they support kids in areas who don't have as much access to learning sports or developing and training within a team environment. And they get other tools and skills for life as a part of it. We do it in Seattle. We also do it in each of our soccer teams in the middle of the country, and we do it with the Packers, and we do it in Milwaukee. So it is also about leveraging that relationship with sport to build trust within community, to infiltrate culture, and to show that we are a trusted partner.
Yeah. Well, and bringing all these stories to life and building that trust in doing so, you're doing it across a range of screens, across a range of channels. How do you strike the balance between all of this omni-channel orchestration and then actually measuring or delivering measurable outcomes? Because at the end of the day, you have probably a CEO and CFO to answer to, yeah?
The CFO,
Yes.
everybody's friend. Yeah, so of course, it's even at our level, it's still a fairly large investment that we make in our sponsorships budget. We make a relatively large investment at the top of the funnel, if you will, because I believe emotional connection is really where brand growth starts, not at the bottom of the funnel. Um, and so we've done a lot of things to really be able to bring that to life. We do traditional MMM. We know from our MMM testing that sponsorships is actually the number one driver of long-term brand growth and brand connection. So I always share that with my CFO. The other thing that we have done is we have leveraged our relationships with the teams in order to build contests with our agents. So we have a lot of our sales folks and agents out here for the weekend because we incented them on driving product and driving sales, get the opportunity to be up close and personal with our sponsorships and with our events through the game here and through other games throughout the season. And we've spent a lot of time thinking about how do we measure even the media value of the tools and the teams that we represent. So not this sport, but we have a stadium in Milwaukee, American Family Fields. The Brewers got pretty far moving towards the World Series. And so we were able to more than pay for that through media value and impressions. We more than pay for what we spend on the stadium in 1 year. So, I mean, it's a lot of different ways that we think through on how we justify the investment that we make. But I think the biggest one for us is really around the connection of the brand to people, things that people are passionate about, and making sure that I can help my CFO understand it's people are not flipping past your favorite sport. When you go into the stadium, you are immersed in experiencing how we show up as you walk to your seat in the stadium. And that's a part that people really remember the experience versus remembering the logo slap that might just pass by on the halo within the stadium.
And what are some of the non-traditional metrics that you use to help tell this story?
We have definitely, so for MMM, for sure, we've been looking at the engagement with our agents. We are certainly looking at impressions. That's usual. We've been looking at how do we think about sports as a way to connect to the lift. So we look at what's happening within our brand, our ambassadors, and how is it creating memorability and ad recall. So anytime Jordan Love is in one of our spots, we know that those ads perform almost 2 times better than an ad without him because people connect to him. And so the more that we can show that our ad recall and our brand recognition is increased, it makes everything down the funnel much more efficient.
I mean, of course they connect to him, right? He's got a story that's very much like in parallel to the customers that you're trying to connect with.
Yeah.
I think I don't know how much time we have left here, but I'll just keep going.
Play the music.
You talked about the agents. It's so cool that they're here, like being rewarded for their efforts and being that almost like last touch to keep customers loyal to the brand, to convert them into, active customers for American Family Insurance. You've done so much great work with that national and local interplay. How do you engage on a regular basis across your national media, the work that you're doing with agents, representing the home team, anything beyond? I mean, you already shared so much already, but anything else worth noting?
In terms of our agents and our teams?
Yeah, like local agents and how you all bring through the media exposures all the way down to that local experience.
Yeah, so I talked a little bit about the immersive experiences that we have at every property that we support. With that, we partner closely with the agents that are near those venues. And so those agents are able to integrate into how we bring the brand to life. They're able to use it as a way to incent customers, to meet new customers, and to prospect. We are a Salesforce house, and so we've been doing a lot of work with one of our partners who's here, Revolution, and Salesforce, and our internal customer analytics team to really connect the leads that we are collecting at any event, put them through a filter within Salesforce to really understand the value of that lead, and then pass that on to our agents as a vetted lead that they can then follow up and drive business with. That's new for us this year, and going into the back half of the 2026 season. But it's a capability that we're really excited about leveraging because, as you mentioned, sponsorships can be hard to really create a tangible return on investment.
It seems like you're using data to like help you punch above your weight while you really carve out these really specific moments.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we've covered everything that we were hoping to today. If I could sum it up, I think it's really about finding those stories to tell, telling them in the right places, connecting with the right customers, and using nice emotional connection to come through in an authentic way. Anything else you'd add?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, one of the most important things that we can do as a brand that needs to step out and stand out amongst a crowd and move into new geographies that we have not been as well known in before is to get our brand story out. And one of the best ways to do brand storytelling that we've identified is to connect to something that people are passionate about and that is universal. And sports has been that thing for us that we have found great reward in as a brand.
Wonderful. Well, with that, go sports. I don't care who wins.
Seahawks. I
But
want the Seahawks to win.
oh yeah,
That's one of our teams.
the
Seahawks.
Seahawks should win, but we'll all have a good time rooting for a team one way or another. So thank you everybody, and thank you, Sherina.